Hey guys, welcome to Look for World. Today we're going to be reacting to I Cry Real Diamonds and I Hate It. I don't know why she hates it. The channel with That's My Story. Be sure to like and share this video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So let's get started. Without further ado, we shall press the button in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi everyone, I'm Agnes. I have a miraculous condition that is seen only in very few people in the world. When you find out what it is, I'm sure you'll be very surprised and will probably wish you had it too. But please wait until you hear the whole story. I'm sure you're going to change your mind because, as you will soon see, this is in no way a precious gift bestowed on me. It's definitely a curse. Before starting elementary school, I was always at home. My mom wouldn't let me go to preschool or kindergarten. I really wanted to go to kindergarten because my cousin Casey was going. And I wanted to be just like her. But no matter how much I begged her, my mom wouldn't let me. I rarely saw my dad because he was traveling for work all the time. He was home for only a few days a month. One time when he was home, I asked him, "Dad, why can't I go to kindergarten like Casey? Will you talk to Mom? I really want to go." My dad shrugged. "I told your mother many times, but she won't listen. She says you'll go to elementary school. Your mother is the most stubborn person in the world. I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about it." My dad was my last hope, but when he also told me that I couldn't go to kindergarten, I started crying. My mom was making dinner in the kitchen. She ran over to me when she heard me crying. She grabbed my hand and took me to my room. Then she said, "Agnes dear, please don't cry when your father's here." She always used to tell me this. I was so little. I couldn't think of asking my mom, "Why do you not want me to cry when my father's around?" I was able to find out the reason many years later. Thankfully, my mom kept her promise when it came time for me to start school. Of course, she wanted me.
Okay, ads here. Let's recap a little bit. So, her dad is a traveler, so she only gets to visit him for like a few days a month. Some days are just 0, I guess, and then some days are 5. Like, I don't think it goes higher. It's just the school weekends. If it was real Monday to Friday, if those were the only days, she'd be like meeting him every after school, like every single day after school only for that week though, and nowhere else. She doesn't have that time to play. Sadness. And then she wants to be like her cousin Casey. How is she even a cousin? Casey cannot be your cousin, Agnes. Casey has blonde hair. You have dark brown hair. None of your parents have blonde. None of your parents even have blonde hair. Doesn't look like Casey's mom does. I mean, where's Casey's father? But it's no. And she did keep her promise. That's what it says. She probably let her go to school. And the most confusingly suspicious thing is, her mom doesn't want her to cry in front of her dad for some reason. And we do not know why. This is her voice. "Agnes dear, please don't cry when your father's here." It rhymes though. Nice poet. 2-sentence poet. Let's resume.
Me to start my education too. But on the first day, she told me over and over, "No matter what happens, don't ever cry at school. It's very important. Do you understand, Agnes?" Even though I said, "Yes, Mommy," every time, she kept telling me the same thing every day. When I would come home from school, she would ask, "Honey, did you cry at school?" In the morning, as she was dropping me off, she'd say, "No crying at school, no matter what happens." My mom's obsession with my crying at school continued for years. When I was a little older, I tried asking her why she was so concerned about it. Mom would say, "You're too young. I will explain it to you when you are a little older," and wouldn't say anything else.
Listen to your teacher, whatever the cause is. And coming back. Did you cry at school? Other parents, did you listen to your teacher? If you didn't, you're grounded. Not me. I don't know what grounded feels like. Being grounded. Wonder. Anyways, probably just sitting there doing no electric. I can live with that. I can live with that. Anyways, Resume.
I had a crush on a boy at school named Brody. I thought he also liked me because he would do all kinds of things to try to get my attention. One day, he was doing skateboard tricks in the schoolyard to impress me. At the same time, he was looking at me and checking to see if I was watching him. All of a sudden, his skateboard flew out from under his feet, and he fell really badly. I ran over to him right away. He was in so much pain that he started crying, not caring that I was standing next to him. He was sobbing uncontrollably. That moment, I noticed that liquid was coming out of his eyes and running down his cheeks. I was really surprised to see this because that's not what happens when I cry. I couldn't help myself and even touched his tear with...
Hey, how long? We probably had like 1 minute there, but like, really? So we just found out she has a crush on this guy named Brody. Okay, Brody, let's go. She goes to school, and then she's talking with Casey outside in a bench, and then this guy is doing the skateboard trick, which is only a jump, honestly. And he falls off, and she comes in running while she was talking to Casey. And then, one thing, he was only doing the skateboard trick just to get her attention, I think. But anyways, she comes running to him, and she's like, "What happened to you? What happened?" And then, poor her, she sees him crying and water coming out of his eyes. She's like, "Oh my God, what is that? Wow, it's mind blown." She has no idea what tears are. No idea. Yeah, she knows. I think she already knew that she cries diamonds, but doesn't know if that everyone does that yet. Like, she already has the experience of crystals coming out, but doesn't know that if everyone does that or if everyone doesn't. So she's clueless, empty-brained right now. Questionations.
And started crying more easily. And thanks to this, I was able to take a closer look at the liquid coming out of his eyes. You must be wondering why I was so surprised. Because when I cried, instead of liquid, I had small glass-like particles coming out of my eyes. Until then, I had never seen someone crying up close. That's why the liquid coming out of Brody's eyes had really surprised me. When I got back home, my mom asked me her usual question, "Did you cry at school?" I said to her, "No, I didn't, but a friend of mine did," and told her about what happened. There were lots of questions in my mind. Was it Brody who cried in a strange way, or was it me? Did other people also have liquid coming out of their eyes, or did they have the small particles like me? I wanted to know which one of us was normal. My mom took a deep breath. Then she said, "Agnes, what I'm about to tell you will need to stay as our secret. You can't tell this to anyone, including your father." She started explaining that, first off, that liquid is called a tear, and told me that normally when people cry, salt water or tears come out of their eyes. But because I was a special kid, I cried differently. Then she added, "There's something else that is important for you to know. What comes out of your eyes is not glass, it's diamonds." That was the day I found out that diamonds are very valuable. They're so valuable that if we sold the little diamond crumbs that come out when I cry, we could buy a luxury home. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So why don't we?" I asked. My mom said, "Because if
Those things, you are the unusual kid. And those are called diamonds." her face went from this to, "Oh my God!" Like, mind blown more. And then when she's like, "I can buy a whole luxury house for that,"
people find out you're crying diamonds, that might have really dangerous consequences. "What kind of dangerous consequences?" I asked. And my mom said in a worried voice, "Agnes, bad men might kidnap you. Then they'd force you to cry all the time so that the diamonds come out. The mafia may hold you hostage every single day of your whole life." Even though I was young, I understood the gravity of the situation. I promised my mom that I would never mention this to anyone ever. This would be our secret. About 4 years after that conversation, my parents were involved in a car crash. My dad did not have any serious injuries. But despite the doctor's best efforts, my mom didn't make it. I felt like I was in a bad dream. I wouldn't be able to see the most beloved person in my life anymore. Despite my grief, I kept the promise that I had made to her. Not even one speck of diamond came out of my eyes at my mom's funeral. I didn't cry at all. People probably thought that I never cried because I was in shock, but that wasn't the case. The truth was that every minute I was alone, I spent crying for my mom. I was putting the small diamonds that come out of my eyes into a bag and hiding them in a closet in the basement. The basement was the safest place in our house because nobody had used it for a long time. I didn't collect the diamonds because I wanted to sell them. I had to hide them because my secret would be out if someone had found them. Because I couldn't stay home by myself, my dad had to stop traveling. He got transferred to another department at work. I told you earlier that my dad and I didn't have the best relationship. I thought that was because we spent too little time together, but it turned out that wasn't the reason. Now he was always home, but still, we never became very close. 4.5 months after my mom's passing, my dad said to me, "There's someone in my life. I'm thinking about marrying her." I was obviously shocked, but I couldn't say anything, so I just nodded. Now I had a stepmother. I was so sad that my dad had gotten married so quickly, and his new wife didn't seem like a nice person. And if that wasn't enough, my stepmother had a daughter named Nancy, and she was just like her mom. It didn't seem possible for me to have a relationship with them. I understood that from now on, I was a stranger in my own house. After they got married, my stepmother and her daughter moved in. Thankfully, our house was big enough. I didn't have to share a room with Nancy. She got her own room, but little Miss Nancy didn't like her room. My friends come over for slumber parties all the time. Agnes's room is bigger. She should move into my room, and I into hers, she said. My dad came to tell me this. Nancy is younger than you. Let's not upset her, he said. I couldn't help it and told him what I really thought of both Nancy and her mom. I also said to him, if my mom is watching us right now, I'm sure she's very upset that you've gotten married so quickly. My dad's face turned red and he screamed, "You're switching rooms with Nancy tomorrow. From now on, you will eat your dinner in your room. I don't want to see your face for a long time." That day, I cried in my room for hours. Naturally, a lot of tiny diamonds came out of my eyes. They were all over the place as I was stomping on the floor with anger. When I woke up in the morning, I picked them up one by one and put them in small plastic bags. That afternoon, Nancy and I switched rooms. I had carefully picked up all the diamonds that had fallen around while I was crying. But unfortunately, I did the stupidest thing and left one of the bags under the bed. When Nancy found the plastic bag, she took it to her mom. Her mom figured out right away that the bag was full of diamonds. But still, she wanted to make sure by showing them to a jeweler she knew. When the man confirmed it, my stepmother told my dad about what happened. Nancy came to my room and told me my dad wanted to see me. I had no idea what had happened, but I still felt that something wasn't quite right. When I walked into the living room and saw the little bag full of diamonds, I was so shocked. My dad asked me, "Agnes, where did you find these?" I couldn't answer at first. I started rambling incoherently. My dad said, "There's a fortune in that bag. I'm asking you again, where did you find these diamonds?" I was never able to lie to anyone's face in my whole life, and now I was going to tell the truth again. "Dad, they come out of my eyes when I cry," I said. My stepmother and Nancy burst out laughing. My stepmother said, "Did you say your eyes? Couldn't you make up a better lie? This is the worst lie I have ever heard in my life." I told them it wasn't a lie, but they didn't believe me. My dad said, "Agnes, you're embarrassing me. Tell us the truth now." "I am telling the truth," I screamed and started crying. Of course, tiny diamonds started coming out of my eyes as I cried. My dad, my stepmother, and Nancy were staring at me astonished. After witnessing this scene, they were finally convinced I was telling the truth. As you might guess, my life completely changed after that day. I went through things that you can't even imagine. You won't believe the things my stepmother did to me after learning about my condition. However, I'll have to tell you about that in another video because we're out of time.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Wow, there's so many twists. I hope you enjoyed it, and we might even have a part 2 of this since there's a second part, but I don't know. But I'll make sure I still have the link description for part 1 and part 2 if you want to watch both or watch this one again. So, see you guys next week. Bye!